All right, we are live. Awesome. Hope everybody had a great trading day today and a happy Monday. Let me get this tweeted out here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, so let's take a look. Like I said, hope everybody had a great trading today. It was a good day. I mean, ultimately, I mean, it was pretty directional, right? So, decent move to the upside and some great moves intraday too. And we'll take a look at those. We'll also, when we get to the technical idea, I'll talk about how I use the tick, or the TIKI, or the TIKI, however you want to pronounce it. I like to call it the TIKI, like a tiki torch or something like that, or a tiki hut. But how I like to how I use that intraday to help really capitalize on a decent short today on the SPX just after a meeting. So it actually worked out pretty well. So futures are up right now. Okay, so right now not too much, right? The S&P futures are only up 2. The Nasdaq 5, the Dow 30 or so. So we'll see how that holds throughout the night. VIX is red at the moment, but we'll see how what progresses throughout the night. So SPX, I've got all these colors up here. So let me just go back to default view, and we'll talk about those colors eventually. We'll touch on it a little bit today, and then we'll eventually do a whole lesson on different levels. But those are pretty key, and those actually help today too as well. When you combine, right, we always talk about confluence, how confluence is key, right? If you can find multiple reasons for taking a trade, right, and you're almost too compelled not to take it, right, those are the times that you want to trade, right? So other than that, if you're just looking or following your intuition or your gut or something like that, chances are you're going to get upset at yourself or something like that. So unless you get really lucky, right? So but that's the idea. Let me just peek here just to make sure that everything is looking okay live. Okay, everything seems to be broadcasting good. All right, awesome. All right, because the other day we got cut off like 9 minutes into it, and I was like, what's happening? So anyway, all right, so let's take a look at the SPX. Let's go to the daily chart. So we've been kind of tracking this for a while, right? So we know, ultimately what's been going on, right? So we had a huge channel, right? Huge channel move from from the lows and the highs of 2018, right? So let me just draw a channel here. We haven't done that in a while. To here, okay. See that caught here and here. I'm gonna change the color of this real quick. I'm gonna change the color of the channel. We'll make that a make it a pink channel. Let's see if that does it. Yeah, there we go, our purple channel. So we'll extend that to the right. Okay, so it just kind of shows where we are, right, in what's been going on, right? So, so 2018, right, we're up and down through this channel, real nice move, right? So we created a big pitchfork here, which kind of gave us a pretty decent path of where the last drop would end, and so that gave us a nice pivot point here, right at the low end of the pitchfork, and then kind of brought us up to the top end of the pitchfork. Then we pivoted here. And usually, we would expect, hey, that's a good place for us to continue downward, at least to test the mid pitchfork level. But it just kind of traveled down this reaction line, right? The Andrews reaction line. So here, so action, reaction, right? And kind of came back up, broke through the pitchfork. Now, I mean, obviously anything can happen, but I don't think there's anything stopping this thing from putting all-time highs in, right? I mean, so it's gone this far. Why would it, why would it go the other way? So, but you never know, right? So we got to still have to keep our eyes open. That's why we have our game plan. If the market's strong, we go to our strong stocks. If we get markets weak, we go to our weak stocks, right? So we'll get into a little bit more about that. So anyway, that's kind of the overall feel of the market right now. I mean, honestly, it looks like it's just, I don't know. This is just sort of like even like it could be a zigzag. I mean, this could be a 5 and then maybe ABC, then 5. I mean, you don't know what this thing's doing, right? It could really, really push, and so we just have to keep an eye on it, right? So that being said, there's more room in the RSI. It's not overbought yet. I mean, it just has plenty of room, right? So we're just going to keep an eye on that. So what can we use intraday? And that's the whole theme of the week is the market internals, right? And what can we use intraday to help us gauge whether or not the market is giving us a strong buy signal or a strong sell signal, other than looking at our futures indicators, right? So that's the whole purpose of this. Yesterday we talked about the tick, right? So the tick, just a quick review. The tick takes about 2,800 New York Stock Exchange stocks, and I'll just go ahead and click it right here. So any of you guys, I got some pretty funny tweets today, like I tweeted about, look at what we learned yesterday. Look at how it's helping us, right? I mean, so if you don't know what you're looking at, right, it just looks like a big mess, right? But if we know that there's key levels that the tick hits, like I have 850 and I have an alert here at 1,000, right? When those things fire off, and these are daily, right? But when those things fire off intraday, right? So if we go, let's see, let's go 15-minute here. auto zoom in. Right, when those things fire off intraday, those give you real clear signals. Now you can see that they're contained, right? So this 850 is sort of a heads up, like, hey, things are happening. But look, it never, all throughout today, it never got over 1,000 to the upside, right? So yeah, we drifted up today, but it wasn't like super down. We had one tick below, which was fadeable. Yes, on Friday under 1,000, and that was fadeable, right? That was a buy into the close. And so today we just kind of, this is what gives you an idea that we're having a choppy day. And really for a good portion of the day, anytime I looked at it, we were at like 200, 100. I mean, you see these open and closes. I mean, we were choppy day to day, right? So that shows you when we're chopping, right? So, you can go back, in time and be like, days that were really trending, that's where it hits over 1,000, and then it gets over 1,200. Then it's like, okay, we're really moving, right? So that's the tick. So today we're going to look at the TIKI, okay? Or the TIKI. So what's the difference between the TIKI and the tick? So the difference between the TIKI and the tick is that the TIKI is only, so the tick, right, does 2,800 New York Stock Exchange stocks. It gives you the uptick, the total uptick, and the total downtick. It's the difference between the two, right? So the TIKI is really cool. The TIKI is the TIKI, or the tick industrial average, right? So this is your Dow Jones. You can see right here, Dow Jones Industrial Average tick. Okay, so this only evaluates the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So all this does is evaluate 30 different stocks. Okay, and so this is a great way to get the pulse of the market. Okay, and so just kind of want to show you here. I'm going to actually zoom in. I'm going to do a 5-minute chart on this. Okay, I know it looks messy, right? So this does the aggregated, right? Difference between the top ticks and down ticks of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So only 30 stocks on there, right? So what this does is it's contained between some really key levels, and I have them marked here. Okay, so if you guys can, we've got 26, 28, and 30. Okay, and if you saw my tweet earlier today, I had an alert that went to my phone somewhere around, and I just tweeted out the trade, right? So we went did puts on the S&P at about, like, I think it was like 11.19. Okay, so around this time, right? If you look at this bar right here, what happened? Right? It pushed below the 26. Let me see what the low is, and it hit 28. So these levels, you can interpret it however you want to, but if all the Dow Jones averages are pushing down and you hit negative 30, right? Because how many Dow Jones stocks are there? 30. That means all of them are ticking down, right? That means the algos are really pushing, right? So I put, like, you could see I had sell program medium, I think, on there, sell program small, or whatever I had at the time. So that was my first indication that, hey, we're starting to look bearish. Okay, so that TIKI alert came out. All right, and that's really all it is. It's the exact same thing as the tick. It just uses the 30 stocks down. So this really just gives you an idea. It's like, boom, we hit this, right? Buy programs are in. We hit 26, light buy programs are in. Once we hit here, and at the end of the day, if you guys, let's go back to the end of the day, we hit 30 at the end of the day here. So I hit 28 there. We hit 30 right at the end of the day. And what happened at the end of the day? Algo time, right? And what do the algos do at the end of the day? Just bought into the close, right? So this goes a little bit after hours here, but look at that, right? So you knew the algos were buying at that time. So this is a great way to tell yourself that, hey, the algos are buying. Now, does it mean that it's going to go up every time? Not necessarily, right? So if I overlay, if I just do a quick overlay here, how do we do it yesterday? We go here, we go studies, we go add study, we go compare with, and we go TIKI. Okay. Let me just go here and make sure that we are still live. Okay, good. Hey, what's up, guys? Okay, so all right, so here's the idea. Right, so we had a bit. This is around, where was I? Around 11:15ish. I had an alert that hit here. Okay, and here's the S&P, right on the I can't remember. Maybe it hit a little bit earlier in this. Yeah, I think I had the first signal here, and I was like, okay, I'm going to look to get short, because that was a big one. This one hit the 28 levels, something like that, the negative 28 level. Obviously, these are showing, the bar charts are showing closing prices, right? So you don't get to see the exact one you see on the tick, but this just gives you an idea, right? So so basically what we're seeing here, and then you can also see these tops too, right? We're showing some negative divergence there. So but yeah, so when I got that signal, and let me go show you exactly what I was looking at. So I'm gonna go to the candlestick chart on the 5. I'll put up some cool levels that we are going to talk about eventually. Okay, and I've also got the 5 and the 10 MAs pulled up here. Okay, so if you go here and I'm going to go pivots. That's tomorrow's pivots. So if we go to these pivot levels here, that is not showing me what I had. No, yeah, this is pretty good. This is good. So, all right, this is our opening level, right? So this is our floor pivot here, and this is R1. This is floor pivot R1, okay? So today at the open, right, we just kind of screamed at the open. I had to go to a meeting, blah, blah, blah. All right, so what happens is we're chopping around this one level right here. They put in a nice high here, and around this time, as you guys saw on the TIKI chart, on the TIKI chart, right, if we go here, what time was that? It is getting a little bit cluttered here. Goodness, I brought me all the way back there. So we go here. So we had this right here, 11:15ish, right? 10:55. So 11:15, I'm pretty sure this is the one that came out, right? So 11:15, I get this huge sell program coming in. So let's go back there, 11:15 on the SPX. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was because I tweeted out 11:15. Then you saw I entered the trade at 11:19, so that makes the most sense. Okay, so we're up here, blah blah blah, and then boom, right here we get a huge sell signal, right? So so the TIKI goes off right there. The algos are trying to push this thing down, and it makes sense, right? Because we've got we're breaking this pivot area, and what else was key? The other key signal was, so that was like I was watching that, I was watching this level, you know, I was kind of got back from meeting, I'm like okay, and what was really striking is that not only do we have this nice piercing bar here through the level, but if you watch the 5 MA and the 10 MA, right? So you don't want to short here, right? Going up here. See how this is like the 5 is nowhere close to the 10? This is not the time to put on a short position, right? So now we're consolidating, this comes back in, the 5 MA flattens out, right? Death cross right here over the 10. But you usually got to figure, okay, you could go short here. You could take a little bit of a scalp there. I mean, you could do that, right? But a lot of times these things like to consolidate. Maybe it's going to go back up. Give it a chance to figure itself out. So then here it comes back up, puts in a nice topping tail, okay? So now we've got a nice W top. This is actually a 2B reversal to the downside. And so, you know, this is your first bar here. You know, there's the one that pierces it. You actually, you know, can go short, you know, below this bar. It was about, you know, I kind of entered, you know, somewhere around here. So, and then what happens? So look at how this nice curve over on the 5 MA happens, okay? And then it looks like it's ready to go down right there. So that I was watching that closely, and then I was watching this level break closely. I saw this nice piercing bar right here, and then I got the this is right here. You can see the time at the bottom is around 11:15. I got the alert that the TIKI hit the negative 28 level. So you got a medium buy program going in like that. So I entered SPX puts right here. And then boom, that was like really, other than catching it buying like right at the open, that was the move of the day right there. And so that was it. I don't think I really took any more trades for the rest of the day. In fact, that was my last trade of the day. You know, I think I tried Tesla at the open. That worked well in the 60 anchor. You know, stuff like that. So, but here, perfect trade right there. So that was really great. So hopefully that helps, guys. That's the TIKI. So it's exactly like the tick, except it's only instead of using 1,000 as your key level, right? You basically use 26, 28, and 30. That shows you that the buy programs are in or the sell programs are in. So if it's positive or it's negative, and then that can give you a heads up. Now you don't necessarily just want to, if you get a signal, right? You don't just want to jump in and be like, I'm going to short right here, right? Because it's the sell programs are coming in. Well, sell program, it might just be like a shot across the bow, by the algos. What you need to do, or what we need to do, is keep it as part of our trading plan. So when you can incorporate other things, you can really start to see. So we knew our level, we knew our pivot level as a potential area. We knew we were watching, if you're watching your 5 and your 10 MAs, right? So you had that as well. And then let's just take a real quick look. Let's see what the cloud was doing at the time, and then we'll call it a lesson. So yeah, that was gonna apply to see where the cloud was. So yeah, so the cloud was below 2. So I mean, it gave a reasonable target, right? So, or at least a reasonable place to be like, hey, I might want to start taking some profits right here. This is about where I did. Like, so we pushed here. It went to like 285 or something like that, and I moved my stop up to 250. You guys can see the P&L on the or the trade on Twitter. But I had my stop at 250, and then it took me out at 245. So from 105 to 245, I'll take that trade any day, right? So especially on a choppy day, right? So that was just that was what we did. We caught that, and the reason I picked the 2820s, right, is because here we have this daily pivot kind of area. And we had some volumetric. This is a volumetric level, volumetric level, right? So these are just levels I just put in. And so when we're up here, I was like, well, what else do we really have? Obviously, we've got the 50% between the two pivots, right? So that's a good, reasonable target. But this thing just wanted to go. I mean, once you saw this bar right here, is like that was right there, is where it went from like, okay, so we're at 105, 150, and then boom, Vega, right? Vega and Delta right there, boom, and we get closer and closer to that, that 2820 strike, which was what I tried. That was like my real target, and then boom, right there. So we hit this level. Makes sense. We're at the cloud. That's a good place for it to just kind of consolidate. And then what happens, right? Watch your 5MA goes flat, right? So here, right, you don't want to be taking longs, right? When this 5MA is like so distant from the 10MA like that, you do not want to be longs here. It flattens out. Good place to go ahead and cover, right? So then it goes back here, and then you just kind of I don't know, you just have to use a little bit of intuition, be like, okay, well, you don't want to just jump in every time there's a cross, right? So you want it to just kind of give you that kind of curling. This is a perfect curling action right there. Give you that peak, and then I'm gonna jump down, right? So here you knew it was flattening, and so if anything, you want to watch for a continuation move to the upside. This wasn't so bad. I mean, you could look to try, but it wasn't my intention to it just was looking a little bit weak the way it was chopping around this this pivot area. And so at that point, it's just like, is the short coming in? Then boom, that TIKI alert went off. So I highly recommend setting those alerts on your TIK and your TIKI, just continuous alerts. I know they'll go off all the time, but at least it'll give you an idea. Be like, hey, do I want to be in this trade right now, right? If the algos aren't on my side, I don't want to be in it, right? So that's just something to think about. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. At this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, feel free to plug them in the chat window, and we'll get through those as best we can. Of course, we'd like to try to finish up at 10 o'clock if possible, so we could all get some rest. But I do like to get through as many charts as I can. So, Prayer Kid, what's going on, man? Number one today. What's up? Hope you had a great day. NetFry, what's going on, man? Good to see you today. Back in the groove. Harvey, what's going on, my friend? Call Saw, what's going on, bud? Hey, BH, hope you had a good day today. Yeah, it was good. Looking forward to tomorrow. We can cover NVIDIA, Apple, and Roku if you have time. Yep, my pleasure. Yep. So let me pull those up. So NVIDIA, I am looking forward to seeing Roku. NVIDIA, so NVIDIA is really interesting, right? So it's had this incredible move. I mean, I wouldn't say incredible, but it had a, you look at it, it looks pretty decent, right? So it had this really good move, from this area. These happen to be like a breakout of volumetric levels. I can't remember what the exact. Let me go on the daily to show you. So we had a volumetric level here at 167-ish, something like that, right? So we were targeting that as a potential target, but then it broke through, right? So we were kind of in this area, and then we're looking for this wave 4, and then a potential wave 5 to the downside. So there are some kind of key levels there, but let's go back to the daily on the candlesticks. And so once it broke through those volumetric levels, right, just kind of pushed, and now it's really hugging this upper Bollinger Band, right? And it's starting to worry me, right? Because it's getting pretty overextended. It got through the cloud, right? So it sort of dojied, and then okay, I'm out. We're out of the cloud. Now it's kind of consolidated. It's like do I keep ripping, or is this wave 4 done? And we go to the downside. So personally, I'm looking this to the short side tomorrow. I think there's a chance. I mean, I do like how the 5MA is caught up to it, but it would be interesting. I think it could potentially, at least work its way to retest the 10 or maybe the 20, which is the mid Bollinger Band, right? So, so there's definitely a possibility. So, three higher highs, 3 higher lows. That's a good place to, or even 4 in a row. It's a good place to look for a reversal. Today was a decent reversal from the highs. So that's kind of what I'm looking at tomorrow. And obviously you could just continue to consolidate and then give another push, in the market, sees fit. But I'm kind of watching it to the downside tomorrow. Apple, let's take a look. Apple's been super strong too. I mean, for some reason, I don't want to short Apple as much as I want to short, NVIDIA, because Apple has just really changed, sentiment. It just seems like it was everybody's least favorite stock when it was, they disappointed everybody, and they released their earnings early that were going to be bad, and then they just kind of, then the earnings actually worked to the upside when they actually came out, even though they were expected to be bad, and it just kind of has now kind of gained favor again, right? So there's definitely been, in my opinion, the volume's going up. There's some money coming back into it. So now is it going to be super green every day? Not necessarily. It had a couple pause days here. It had a big green day today. you get your 200-day moving average right here, right at 190. So I think that should be tested at least pretty soon, and then maybe get some consolidation there. It might actually bounce off of it. It might be a good place to short. But it does have the mid pitchfork level to get to too, and so it's kind of that 200, kind of area. So lots of action going on there. I mean, huge move up. Like I said, I mean, it, could be due for a pullback a little bit, but I think buying pullbacks on Apple at this point are, reasonable strategy. Let's take a look to Roku. Roku, I kind of want to go back and see how that looks here. Pretty interesting. You can see I have some fibs that we were looking at. Retracement, yeah, the 61.8. It's kind of stepping its way up, but given lots of doji spinning top days. Let's see, did that give us a 60 anchor as well? No, I mean it did, shooting star, but let's take a look here on the daily. Golly, it got really close to its highs there at 77.57. Let's see how the hourly looks. Not too much action there. Originally, I was thinking measured move down, right? We had that pause day, and I was looking to the downside, and it just seems to have come off of that. So I'm going to remove that. Those drawings there. So all I'm seeing is sort of like this move down was pretty impulsive, right? So I would call that, possibly a wave one back down. So one, and then if we remove this, it might try to reclaim, 0.618, I would say, at the most of this drop. Why is that not coming up? There we go. Here. And here. So, I mean, I don't know quite what it's working on, but it was a little bit funky. So, it could be A, maybe B, kind of C-ish. I mean, it doesn't have to go all the way to the 0.618, but I would say, a potential test of this 50% retracement, and then I would look to short again. So, I don't know. I mean, it was pretty strong on earnings, but the way it just it got downgraded and all that stuff, it just really pushed it down. That gave us a nice impulsive wave. So that's what leads me to believe that, looking at that it's working its way back down. Now, I mean, it could be, it could be working on a zigzag, back down too. So, but either way, I would expect, A, maybe some sort of B, and then, a C wave push to the downside. So right now, not tradable for me, but kind of definitely good to keep on the radar. Good stuff, man. Hope you're doing well. Scott, IQ, keep going up, taking out stops, and Baba. So yeah, so IQ and Baba both strong on the Chinese front. Kind of consolidated here at the end of the day. Kind of trying, do a little triangle here on this, undershot it, and then kind of came back up. Let's see. Kind of like I said, it's kind of working its way up this channel. And let's see. Yeah, interesting on the hourly. Spinning top day. I mean, kind of not much you could really do right here, but it did have a pretty big move to the upside today, and then it came back in. Baba. Oh man, I'm telling you, spinning top right here on the mid pitchfork level, right? So this thing's been kind of funky. Let's go down here. Yeah, looks interesting. Yeah, I mean the pitchfork's been working pretty well, but right now it's still over this volumetric kind of mid volumetric support area. It just is hanging out around the pitchfork, right? So not too much I could do here. I did have a potential wave one here, wave two, because this looks like A, B, C, wave two, and then at this point it could be working on wave three. So this could be 1, 2, and then so you could see like a massive move to the downside. So it's got a while for earnings. So kind of keep an eye on it, but right now it's sort of looking to go one way or another. It's right in the middle of everything. So, but definitely a break below 177, right? And I'll put an alert there actually. So there, create alert. I think we get some some pretty good downside action. So, break down. So there, nice catch on that. And upside, just has some work to do, right? I mean, if it does get going and all that stuff, it might want to test that 199-200 level. So, pre-test, what's going on, man? Yeah, AVGO and EA. Let's take a look. AVGO. Sandeep did really good on this one, so proud of you on that one. So nice gap up, nice push, right? So we were moving up the channel here, broke it to the downside, held on to volumetric support, and then boom, gap up right after earnings. Nice inside day here. Okay, so definitely look at this, as a trade to the upside. So that's a good one to look at. Just put an alert at the top. Obviously, you could go to the downside, but with these ones, that type of big move to the upside, I like to see it break the inside day up, and then eventually try to take out that 299 high for for another breakout play day up. So that one looks pretty good. And then EA. Oh yeah, EA coming out with their Apex subscription that my son tells me about. I was like, I already knew about that. I was watching, I got an alert on the stock today. So, but yeah, so it's just kind of working its way through like these, sort of like this weird triangle structure right here. It's just really consolidating. My guess is that there's going to be a move once those Apex numbers come out. If it does, then I think you get a push to the upside around that kind of that 107 area. So, 105 to 107, something like that. So if they're like, hey, we got a ton more subscribers than we thought, I think you'll see it launch, right? And then 112 is the next target where you hit volumetric resistance. So there's that. I mean, obviously, if it breaks to the downside, you've got 87 as potential target. So it's really in this kind of consolidation stage. But it looks like it's kind of gearing up there, right? So it's getting a lot of energy built up, and a break here could give it that extra push. So that looks pretty interesting. That would be a super way to play YM only. Yep. Michael, what's going on, man? Tesla, let's take a look. Good old Tesla. So you guys saw the other day, if you guys remember the video we did not too long ago on the homing pigeon setup, right? The homing pigeon setup is a reversal trade. It was on the weekly where I spotted it. So we had an inside week last week, right? And it was a red week that was inside another red week, right? And so that's your homing pigeon setup. So you'd expect a reversal to the upside, and then we were at the 200 moving average, right? So on the weekly. So that's usually a big reversal spot. You can see the last time Tesla got to that area, every time it hit it, boom, bounce off, right, and then back down, up and off it, up and off it. And then here, finally, boom, earnings way off of it, right? So here it touched the 200 all the way back up again. So, but it did it here. You can see it did it after a couple of weeks. It kept on testing it. So right now, you see how this week here tested below it, right? This could, even though it looks like a thick bar, it was only day one of the week. What this could be doing is putting in a bottom wick, right, near that 200 moving average. So my guess is it would still retest that level, that 275 level. But we'll have to see. What it did give us is a 60 anchor for tomorrow. Real quick review on the 60 anchor for today. This was last night, or this is Friday night, right? And so at the beginning we opened and we pushed to the upside. And we got through volumetric level too, so this will really look good to the long side. So that was a good scalp there. And then when it came back in, right, so let's say you had your stop moved up and all that stuff comes back in, then you trade it on a break to the downside. Here, this 274, and then it just really flushed all the way down to here. So a nice 7-point move off of that 60 anchor, all within the first hour on Tesla. And then it just consolidated for the rest of the day. So what that shows me, right, on the daily is, we have a move, pause, and then we have another potential measure move to the bottom, or who knows? Some crazy news comes out. Elon put something crazy out there. Inside bar again. In fact, this is triple inside 60 at the end of the day. So I think we should get some momentum off this 60 anchor in the morning. So look for a trade to the upside on that over 270.39 or a break to the downside under 269.25. So that's going to be the key to look at tomorrow. So, and then if it does break to the upside, that might be our homing pigeon reversal, right? So there we go. Great to play one and the DI only 30, like you said. Nice. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Scott, if you use the TIKI on those, yeah, exactly, because it's showing you exactly what's going on with the YM. Just don't get faked out, right? Because it could be, if you have to watch what's going on with the trend, right? It's not just one where you jump in. Just because you see everything fire off at one time doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily go that way. It has to correspond, right, with some other setup. So if you're using like the LRC setup at the top or the bottom, right, the -1, +2, or the -2 +2, you can do it there, right, or off of a cloud or something like that, right? So not just random, but it does show you that the Dow is going. So great point there, yeah, definitely. Nefra, what's going on? WCG. WellCare Health Plans. You've been nailing these healthcare stocks, so let's see what's going on with this. So it's just here on the hourly, it's it's kind of working its way through the cloud. It's going to break out in a couple hours, so that's good. A couple of trading hours. Definitely moving in some waves here, right? So big move here, push back down, held the closed below the lower Bollinger Band and kind of came back up. So that is something. Let's take a look here. Volumetric wise, kind of in the middle of nowhere. It does have levels here. You can see where the volume is pointing out here. So these are definitely areas of support. So let me put a box here just to show it. This is the bottom of this level here. Pretty much like that. So you can see here, this was, served as, consolidation, came back in, support, broke support, held it again, right? So if it holds, it looks like it could, potentially work its way back up to that 302 level. So and it's got time to do it. So, but it's sort of in the middle of, kind of in the middle of nowhere right now. Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Nephri, great. Yeah, man. So this is a good week. We're going to look at all sorts of internal stuff that you can just use to help give you to show what's going inside the market to help put on a trade to see if a trade even makes sense, right? So you saw that today how the tick was doing nothing, right? It's kind of like just bouncing around, between 400 and negative 400. No need to put on a trade. I mean, really, unless you've, really see the ultimate setup or something like that. But other than that, it's no reason to put on longs or shorts. It's because the market's not doing anything, right? So, TuneFed, what's going on? Hopefully that helps. Yeah. So that was a just real quick on the SPX. So that trade today was there was an inside 15 there. Let's see. Go to that. Did I show the 15? I think that was a 5-minute chart anyway. But yeah. So it was where were we today? So what we have, yeah. So here's your inside 15 bar right here, and then that break to the downside would have been a nice early anticipation. But for me, just trading those, great. Here's an inside 15 broke to the upside. Here's an inside 15 kind of broke to the downside. You can try that all day long, and with options it's really difficult on the SPX, right? So here that was great. So that was a good indication. All right, we're breaking to the downside. This key bar here when we broke that pivot level, and then finally getting the confirmation of the death cross there. That was where I'm saying, yeah, let's go. But yeah, certainly you could have definitely tried the inside 15 too. But that's another indication, right? So when all these things combine, and then boom, 10 minutes later, that sell program fires off. It's like, okay, now we got it. Let's go, right? But let's take a look at SQ. Didn't SQ had a rough day today, didn't it? Yeah, it did. Let's see. Let's go to the daily to see what the candlesticks look like. Yeah, see this SQ. So I wish it would just go and you do a trade, but this is why I don't trade SQ. But here, nice break, right? Nice Fibonacci break here, mid Bollinger Band break to the downside, and then comes right back up. It's like you just want this thing to just go, right? But at least hit some sort of exact target, but it just never does. But anyway, so if you got a good short on it, it was great at the open. Nice. You could have done this hammer bar here off that 60, and then that break to the downside was right into the 50 MA on the hourly, and that was a nice push there. But to me, here it just looks like, shorts cover in and all that stuff. Back in this hourly cloud, I think a break there, that 74, 75 level to the downside, I think could be pretty good. To give you anything at the end, not really. And then, let's see, Elliott wave-wise, we had 1, 2, 3, 4. That could have been 5. This could be A, B. It might be working on more of a wave C down. It's just got a couple of these little fib levels to get through here. So just be careful of that. Let's see. I think this was an old earnings bar. This level here, I think it was a gap or something like that. So just an old level, congestion zone type stuff. But yeah, so maybe it looks like possible a little further downside movement, especially if it takes out. There's such a long bottom stick, right? So, or the lower shadow of the daily candle is tough to wait for that to break. You could go off the close, break, green to red or something like that in the morning. JD is interesting, right? So it got over this volumetric level, finally kind of came back in. Now it's kind of holding over it. JD's is, again, I think just going to be a choppy one. It's a tough one to look at how thin these pivots are, right? And this is on the daily, just nasty. Really tough one to trade. So, and it does that everywhere. It's just, right? This is a really tough stock to trade. So, but as long as it holds that, if you're swinging it or something like that, as long as it holds that 27, 10 level, I think it could potentially get its way up to this mid pitchfork level around 35. I just, timing wise, tough to say. It might do it before next earnings, but Yeah, it's definitely kind of has an upward trending line too here on the RSI. Right? I mean, kind of see that it's kind of working its way up. So so definitely some potential there. And let's see, an HOLX. Yeah, solid. I mean, look at that huge break right there. I mean, it had like a kind of inverse head and shoulders. There's your neckline right there. Boom, all the way up. Let's see. Let's see if we can get something going on here. So let's see if we had drawn an arc from here to here. Pretty interesting. Here to here. Also interesting. Um, yeah, so there's a couple things to keep an eye on. So, so there's some arc levels here. I'm going to draw a Fibonacci line. Fib fan line too. Here. There. So it's holding that pretty well. So I wouldn't want it to get below today's lows. That needs to be edited. There. 3. Save as default. Okay. There we go. Okay, so yeah, so I'd want to hold today's lows, as good as possible. If it does, I think that 49. Look at that. It looks like it wants to get to 50, right? Would you agree that this confluence level looks pretty good? So I think it looks pretty good. If not, it's going to go back to 43. So if it breaks through the Fibonacci level in today's lows, it looks like it would want more downside. So you also no, that's not quite bearish. That's actually not bearish divergence right there on the RSI, but I guess this is right here. So just keep in mind, with that, if it does want further downside, it could try to break that. So I mean, you could draw a trend line here as well. Right, so if it breaks that RSI to the downside, it might break that Fibonacci simultaneously, and then try to get to that 43 level. So keep an eye on that. Foosman Dub, what's going on? Microsoft, let's take a look. Gosh, Microsoft has been up and down recently, hasn't it? Okay, so I'm going to remove this. This is when we were studying linear regression channels. I might keep this one up because look how it has been holding it for us. Overbought conditions on the RSI right now. But yeah, huge move. So what was this, a recent all-time high? Gosh, incredible. Microsoft really is incredible. But look what it's been doing. I have this linear regression channel for all this huge amount of time, right? Over the last couple years. And so it's really just approaching that linear regression channel. And it broke out of this recent one. So, so yeah, I mean, it might try a little bit higher here. Let's see how that looks on the hourly. Yeah, just nice move into the close. Beautiful daily bar. I mean, Microsoft's Microsoft. I mean, so I mean, I wouldn't be afraid to try a breakout if the market's strong tomorrow to give it another push up to like that 119 level. Just be careful because it has been going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, seven's a potential WD again. Talked about 7 as being a interesting number for potential reversal. So just keep that in mind too. So of course we've seen the SPX do it for like what was it, like 9, 10, 11, 12 days, something like that. So of green days. So just keep an eye on that. But big move too, might consolidate for a day and then move up again too. So just depends how many more buyers we got. We had a lot of volume too as it pushed those highs on Friday, and it held the close today above it. So so yeah, I mean obviously overall pretty bullish on that one. So pre-test, no problem, my pleasure. Rotem Levy, what's going on? Neo, yeah, let's take a look at Neo. How's that doing? Did it ever get below or above $6? Below $6. Oh, just so nasty. Just such a tough stock to trade or to be long with, right? So 575, wasn't that the opening print of it when it was, what was the opening of it? I don't know, Scott, you mentioned it the other day. I can't remember where it opened. Yeah, 535 was the low on day one. The open was $6. So yeah, 535 was the low. To me, it seems like it might want to test that, right? So it has been getting some volume coming in here since earnings, even more volume than earnings day. So that is interesting. So it looks like there's a battle right here. So we had this kind of doji day, right? So, but the mid Bollinger Band's pointing down, Celts are pointing down, even the lower Bollinger Band. So it looks like there is room to go to the downside for sure. So so watch this one either way, right? A lot of volume has been coming in, but I would look for some sort of reversal bar at the lower Bollinger Band. So maybe like one more push to the downside, and then if buyers really want to come in, you'll see a hammer, or something like that. Nice reversal bar at those levels. So keep that in mind. Then your next target from there would be like $7. So. Da, 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 da. Nepri, what's going on? Played along Neo if it's above 5.8. Cool, yeah, that's a good level. And then, no problem, Nepri, my pleasure. Paul, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you. Yeah, Lily. That was popping up on a lot of scans over the last couple of weeks. Cool, yeah, it had that big, look at this bar. Goodness gracious, what a crazy bar that was. Wouldn't you, would it be horrible to be the guy up there who bought at the top, marketed in right there, and it's like, ah. Anyway, so after that consolidation move back to the mid Bollinger Band, it's this is decent reversal bar right here, and then came off that pretty well. So it's been kind of within those Fibonacci levels. So yeah, I would say a break. I mean, you're right at the mid Bollinger Band. It's not a bad place to attempt long. Let's see, let's go. Gosh, yeah, so much volume's been coming in on it. I mean, you got lots of volumetric levels up here too. I think it's probably going to hold this area. Here's your John Carter TTM squeeze. So it squeezed for a long time, and then finally broke to the upside. So a bit of energy release there to the upside, and then crazy chart. This is almost really, really difficult to wave count, right? But such a crazy bar, but that was the high. So yeah, it kind of came down, like held that Fibonacci level, and it's kind of working its way. I mean, who knows which way it's going to go, but it looks like it might kind of come back down, retest, and then maybe work its way up. Really tough chart, but nice candlestick for on the daily today. So something to look at there. So good stuff, guys. I don't know where Shirley is. Normally she's here. Maybe she's on vacation or something. I hope everything's. If everybody ever has exchanged emails with her, hopefully she's doing well. But appreciate you guys. Poosman Dub, thank you. Rodham, love you. Facebook. Let's take a look at Facebook, and then we'll hit the road here. Get some sleep. Gosh, Facebook. There was a level. We were tracking this for a while. So it had this nice bull flag here, and it broke. And it was right. This confluence level right here is right. It was like right in here. Fibonacci fan level, and then it broke. Right. Tag this Fib fan level, and then I was like, okay, what's it gonna do? Right, so I was thinking A, B. I thought it would at least test this volumetric level right here. A, B. So this B here is actually already in. Edit. I'm going to take the question mark out. So that would be a wave B. Now, and then wave C, right? We'd like to, the best things to trade in LA wave are wave 3, wave 5, and wave C. And so if I had thought that, hey, the wave B was in here, this wave C would have been a nice trade to the downside. But look what it's doing. It's been really respecting these Fibonacci fan levels. So it came up here, tagged it down, up, failed to do it. Let me remove that right there. That was when we were testing something else. Is that the wave C bottom, right? So that's the real question right here. So, and it very well could be. So, it's kind of retesting this level 4, wave 4 levels. So this could be what I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? A, B, C, and then it's been beat up pretty good. So, I mean, at this point, does it work on wave 1, 2, kind of 3, 4, 5 after that? So that's really the next question. So at this point, is wave C complete? Maybe. It is, finally hit this lower fib level. If it does break down, if it breaks today's lows, then I don't think there's really any other support. You could follow this Fibonacci arc all the way back down to volumetric support at this 148 level. So, so that's my take on this. So yeah. And at which point we could recount this. That could have been like a wave 1, and then we might have a wave 2 back up, and then 3, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So just seems to me like they pushed it all the way up with earnings and all that stuff, and then just to take it down with all this nasty lawsuit stuff and downgrade. So so just keep an eye on it. One of the interesting things here too is if I posted this on the RSI. The reason anytime you see like a wave 3, right, you can get this RSI overbought, right? But wave 5, usually you get bearish divergence, right? So that's one way to be like, okay, I feel really good that that's a wave 5. This was your wave 3, bearish divergence for wave 5. And look, it never broke through. Even when it tried, where I thought it was going to volumetric level, look, it came right off of this level, right? This RSI, trend line. Tagged it, and then boom to the downside right here, and boom to the downside. So yeah, so we just have to see if this Fibonacci fan level is serves as support, and if it breaks down, I think next is volumetric. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, guys, have a good night, and I'll tweet out a game plan, and have a safe trade day tomorrow. Remember, risk first, and before you do anything, and then keep an eye on your market internals, right? Watch your tick and watch your TIKI, and Have fun. All right, and be safe. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Jimmy, what's going on, buddy? Need for sure double play in options tomorrow. Please provide entry days. I know, man, but you see how hard it is. I mean, like putting. I'll get better at it over time, but it's just like I'll do best I can when I see one. I'll try to tweet one out. I know, man, those doubles are sweet. You're in it and you're like, oh, well, because it's working right. It goes like 30%. You're like, oh, that's pretty good. And then like you look away and oh, it's really puking. This is going really great. So I'll do the best I can, man. And I'll do the best I can. So all right, guys, have a great night. And thanks, Netfry. I appreciate you guys. Have a good night.